Hello students, in today's session we will discuss design of connections. So as we can see, connections are of two types. One is the welded connection, second one is the riveted or bolted connection. So when I say a design of connection, you must understand why we are designing any connection and what this designing of connection stands for. So see, whenever you design any member, like if you have this gusset plate and you have connected angle upon it, and this angle is connected with the bolts at its end, then I am saying that the failure of this structure or this arrangement depends upon the two things. First thing is that this member which you have connected, this gusset plate or maybe this bolted angle, these two can fail if they are lacking on their capacity. Okay, the member itself fails. That's the first type of failure. And second type of failure caused in this arrangement is due to bolts. Is due to what? Bolts. What happened? You have given proper connection to this gusset along with its bolt fixed at ends, right? But these bolts are not sufficient to carry to transfer the load coming on this angle to the gusset plate. It is not sufficient, and what happens? The bolts itself get break, and if the bolts are getting fail, this whole arrangement become useless. Why? Because even the members are good in its condition, they are capable to resist the load, still due to the bolt which is incapable to transfer the load, this whole arrangement fails. Understood? So any arrangement in a structural design consists of two major part. One is the capacity of or resistance offered by any member, any section. The section may be angle section, I section, gusset plate, it can be anything. The capacity of that section, and second important thing is the capacity of load transfer of a bolt or weld or rivet, whichever you use for a connection. So these two important parts are there. We have understood how to calculate strength of a member. We have gone through the modes of a tensile failure. There are three modes of tensile failure. One is your first is your yielding of gross section, second one is rupture of net section, and third one is your block shear failure. If I am saying the member is failing, it may fail due to three of this reason or one out of this reason. Okay. But second important thing we should not ignore, that is joint. If the joint is not sufficient to carry or to transfer the load, then also no matter how capable your members are, still your arrangement fails. Your structure may fails. Therefore, we are focusing now on connection designing. So what do you mean by connection design? So design of connection is finding out the strength of bolt or weld you are providing in a structure. What is designing of connection? Designing of connection stands for finding the capacity or resistance offered by the bolt, weld or rivet. Find the capacity of this connecting objects or member. Okay, so let's read the question. First, determine the ultimate load carrying capacity in tension of a lap joint shown in figure if bolt threads are outside of shear phase. What do you mean by bolt threads? So if you have gone through the previous theory lectures, you must understood that this is your bolt and bolt has some threading on it. And whenever you place this bolt in any connection like this, let's suppose this is the one gusset plate and this one is the angle, or these are the two plates connected one upon above, one above. Okay, so when you place a bolt inside it, some part of that bolt is in connection, right? That threaded portion, that threaded region is getting coincide with this plate, this bottom plate. But here what they said, if bolt threads are outside of shear phase, it means that, let me show with the figure. There is a plate like this, first plate, it's not looking good, let's draw it nicely. If I am saying there is a bolt and we have placed it inside connection, we used it for connection like this, and that bolt has a threading from here. Okay, so no part, no region of your bolt has coincided with the shear plane or shear phase. Where does shear occur? At this phase, at this joint. Let me change the color. Yes, at this joint shear occur. Why? Because when you apply a tensile force on your section, the plane at this will be equal and opposite. This is pulling outside, therefore opposite force will be in this direction. This is again pulling outside, so opposite force at this plane will be in this direction, right? So equal and opposite force occurs at this plane, right? And that plane is under shear force. That plane is under shear force. And when I am saying this plane is under shear force, that plane is may fail due to shear action. That plane may fails due to shear action. In that case, we should check if our threaded region, which is here, is coincided with that plane or it is outside that plane. So we can see that is outside of the shear phase. That's what it said over here. If the bolt threads are outside of shear phase, it is outside of shear phase. Then what next is, use M20 bolts of a product grade C, property class 4.6. Why do they giving us a grade and property class now? So you must understand from here that bolt grade gives knowledge about, bolt grade gives a knowledge about ultimate load carrying capacity, FUB, and yield stress, ultimate stress in a bolt and yield stress in a bolt. Sorry, I said ultimate load carrying. No, it is not. It is ultimate stress in a bolt and yield stress in a bolt. That's why we required a which property class we have selected for our bolts. Okay. The next is yield and ultimate strength of the flats. Flats means what? Here the flat stands for the plate which are connected with each other with the help of lap joint. With the help of lap joint. The plates we are using for the lap joint, that plates are called it as a flat. Okay. Are 250 MPa and 410 MPa. What is 250 MPa and 410 MPa? 250 is yield stress Fy and 410 is ultimate stress Fu MPa in Newton per mm square respectively. So what they ask us to determine the ultimate load carrying capacity of this tension, in the tension of this lap joint. So we are discussing lap joint. Now how many types of joints are available with us? And how do we recognize that this is the lap joint and this one is the butt joint, or this is not a lap joint? So see here, basic two types I will explain you like this. A one joint you can see in which plates are placed one above other in this way. Okay, and you have bolted it like this. And second arrangement I can show you is like this. Okay, then these two arrangements are different from each other, right? You can see the difference between its arrangement, correct? And when you apply a tensile force upon it, one, or even not, before applying tensile force, or even if the tensile force is not there, these two joints are different from each other. How they are different? Here the bolt is in only single shear, here the bolt is in double shear, because you have applied, or you have used to connect this two plates. Here there are two plates, this is the one. Actually you are putting like this, let me correct it little for you. Yes, so you have one middle plate like this, and second plate like this, and then again a curve plate on it, and you provide bolts like this on it. Understood? Let's change the color to better understand this. These are the bolts you have used, and this is the separate plate. This one is the separate plate you are using, and you can see these two plates we want to connect with each other, so we used covering plate which are in green color. Okay, now you can see it in a red color, but those are before in red color. Okay, so that's how we made an arrangement. But here the two plates are simply connected without any covering plate. You simply provided bolt inside it, right? If I'm doing such an arrangement, we will call it as a lap joint. Okay, and if you have arranged your connection in this way, you will call it as a butt joint. You will call it as a butt joint. Understood? Now we are discussing lap joint. We will focus upon it, and we will start a solution for this question. See here, the solution says that ultimate strength of a bolt is 4 into 100. How we did that? How we did that? Because see, this property class of your bolt is 4.6. Okay, this 4 tells us about ultimate strength of a bolt. How we calculate that? Ultimate strength of a bolt will be around 400. That's how I calculated over here. Even I explained this in the previous lectures. Understood? Now since property of a class of a bolt is 4.6, I have come across a ultimate strength as 400 MPa, and the diameter of hole, not a diameter of bolt. Diameter of bolt we already know, it is M16 type of bolt. M16, out of which 16 stands for dia of a bolt. Adding with 2 will give us dia of a hole. Why we are adding 2 inside it? Because see, whenever you make a hole to put or to place a bolt inside it, the hole of that the dia of that hole should be in larger diameter. Then and then only you can fix the bolt inside it, and that's why adding 2 extra mm will give us a dia of hole. Understood? Now I have made arrangement, or I have shown diagram of the arrangement which we are using. The two plates are placed one above each, and these dotted lines are showing us where you have placed the bolt. Okay, and these are the bolts in your connection, right? And if I am saying what type of arrangement it is, you will definitely gonna say it is a lap joint, because we are placing plates one above other, and we have not placed any cover plate to complete this arrangement, right? So it is quite simple. We are studying lap joint. Two plates are placed one above other, and thickness of plate is 12 mm. Both are of 12 mm thickness. Now you should make a note of this thing. What is edge distance? What is pitch distance? And what is end distance? You should make note of this. So see here, end distance here are from this to this, which is 30 mm and 30 mm on both the side. Pitch is of 80 mm, and this is your edge distance on this side, which is not mentioned, but you can calculate it. 120 minus 60 means 30 on this side and 30 on this side. So edge distance and end distance matches over here. They are 30 and 30 mm. Understood? Now we will move ahead with our first step. So starting with the first step, I want to ask you that how many types of failure occurs in any joint. If we are discussing modes of failure of a joint, how many are the failure types? 6 are there, right? The first is yielding of, or better we will start with bolt. Okay, so first is shearing capacity of bolt, right? Second is bearing capacity of your bolt. Third one is your tension failure of your bolt, right? Then fourth one is yielding of gross area in plate. Okay, you should remember it, in plate. Rupture of gross net area, rupture of net area in what? Plate. And sixth one is your block shear failure. Sixth one is the block shear failure. First is shearing capacity of a bolt, bearing capacity of a bolt, tension failure of bolt, then yielding of plate, rupture of plate, and block shear failure. These are the 6 ways by which the joint can fail. The joint can fail, and we should check the strength given by all these modes of failure, right? And one which is minimum out of all these 6 will represent the load carrying capacity of this lap joint in tension, right? Are you understanding this concept? That there are 6 ways of failure of a lap joint or any connection in tension. The 6 different ways, or there may be only one reason or only one way which causing our connection to fail, and we have to check that one way by which our connection is failing. But how we will understand out of 6 which will be giving us a least strength? That will be a first type of, or that will be a first way by which our connection will fail. I hope you understood. So starting with the first mode of failure is as rupture of the net section in plate. Strength of a plate due to rupture of net section. Now you must be wondering why I am saying rupture of plate, yielding of gross area in plate, and block shear failure overall on a joint or plate. Why I am saying that? Because see, if the bolts are failed, still our connection is failed, and if the plate is failed, still our connection is failed. Therefore, we should focus on both the criteria. Is the member is failing, which is the connecting member, section, angle or plate, is that failing, or is it a bolt which we placed in connection is failing? We should check both of the failure ways, and therefore I started with the plate as rupture of net section. Now formula you already know, TDN is equals to 0.9 ANFU upon gamma M1. Now I will calculate net area first. How to calculate net area? I want net area of this connection or net area at this connection. Okay. So net area of that connection will be cross sectional area, right? So thickness is 12, this into this, right? So thickness is 12, and what will be a length? I want a net length, and net length will be after reduction of hole, bolt hole. So this 120 minus 2 into 18, 120 minus 2 into 18. Why I taken a 2 into 18? Because there are two holes which are of 18 diameter, and 120 is the total length of this plate. 120 is the total length of this plate. Okay, so 120 minus 2 into 18 into thickness will give us a net area at that section. Next is your TDN. TDN is 0.9 into 1008 into 410 divided by 1.25. Divide by 1.25. This is what we are actually putting values inside the formula mentioned above. Here it is, and we come across TDN value, or the net area rupture value, as 297.6 kilonewton. You should make a note of this value in your book, that first strength given by that plate is 297.6 kilonewton. Now next failure is design shear strength of the bolt. Now I am discussing bolt value, that what capacity those bolts are giving to us. So bolt strength will be, formula for bolt strength I have already discussed with you in a previous lecture, where I have declared or delivered many theoretical concepts. Out of that, I think the last part which I covered is on these formulas only. I have mentioned these formulas in your IS code. You should open your IS code right now while I am teaching you this. So open your IS code, go on page number 72, you will find all these formulas. Calculate the shear strength. Now how to calculate shear strength? The formula is with us. Shear strength is VNSB divided by gamma MB. VNSB divided by gamma MB. Now what is VNSB? So VNSB formula is again it is in your IS code. Read the sentence, what it stands for. Please go through it. And we will use this formula to calculate VNSB. Okay. Now this stands for net shear capacity of a bolt. Okay. Now we should look at now this single shear and double shear concept, and are the threaded region is coincide with the shear face, or it is outside the shear plane. So look at over here, this is your lap joint, right? And you have placed bolt inside it, correct? And when you place bolt inside it, you have to check that where the threads are, and as mentioned in your book, the threads are outside your shear face, outside your shear plane. It can be like this also. This is your one plate, this is your second plate, these are the bolts, this is your shear phase where shear may occur, but the threading started from here. Let's suppose threading started from here. Okay, then if the threading started from much lower region, and as in the question it is mentioned that there is no threads in a shear plane, therefore NN, what does NN stands for? NN is the number of plane where the threaded region coincides with your shear plane. So please open your IS code first for this. On the IS code page number 72, you will get the definitions of everything. So see, on page number 75, sorry, on page number 75 you will get to know what this NN stands for. NN stands for number of shear planes with threads intercepting the shear plane. So we have no shear plane, no threaded part which is coinciding with our shear plane, right, which is coincided with our shear plane. Therefore we can put it as a 0, and if NN is 0, this total terms become 0, right, and therefore I said it is 0. Now next is NS. NS is a number of shear planes without threads intercepting the shear plane. Okay, without threads. So there is one plane, because this is our connection, right? You have a bolt inside it, and threadings are like this. So this plane which is coinciding with shear plane, that region is, I took placed 1. There is one plane where our not threaded region of a bolt is coincided with shear plane, and the value comes as, if you calculate this value, you will get VNSB, which is nominal shear capacity of bolt 46.33 kilonewton. Put this value in above formula, gamma MB. Gamma MB stands for what? It is a partial safety factor for bolt. You should remember this. It is a partial safety factor for bolt. Okay, and that value is mentioned in your AS code as 1.25. 1.25. Okay, now the final value, which is important, VDSB. VDSB stands for shear capacity of a bolt, and that is 37.14 kilonewton. Okay, next is your bearing strength of a bolt. On page number 75 you will get bearing capacity in clause number 10.3.4. please open that page first. Then design bearing strength of a bolt will be V suffix DPB is equals to VNPB divided by gamma MB. Now VNPB is a nominal bearing strength of a bolt. Okay, and its value is 2.5 kb into D into T into FU. Okay, now how to because in this formula we know the thickness, right? We know FU. FU stands for ultimate tensile stress, which is 400. Okay, given into the numerical. kb is not known to us. How to calculate kb? Then IS code help us to know that kb will be smaller of this 3 ratios, smaller out of this 4 terms, or 3 ratios and 4 terms. Fourth is the value 1. Okay, now where E stands for edge distance or end distance, end distance. P stands for pitch distance of a fastener. End distance I have told you in this diagram. Yes, diagram is here. End distance is 30, pitch distance is 80. So that's what I wrote over here. Yes. End distance is 30, pitch distance is 80, dia of a bolt is 18, dia of a hole it is, dia of a hole 18, because dia of a bolt is M16 means 16, and dia of a hole will be adding to 18. Then FUB 400 and FU is 410. Okay, now let's calculate this ratio one by one. There's simply putting this all data into above formulas. Put the all data in above formula and come across the values of 3 of these ratios, And from this three of the ratios, we understood that KB will be smaller of this three, right? And what is the value of 1.0? That's the fourth term. So which one will be smallest out of this? Smallest is 0.55, right? That's what KB I have to put the all values in the above formula. You will come across first as a VNPB and put that VNPB in the final formula of bearing strength or bearing capacity of a bolt, which we come across here. I have which we come across 86.592. 37 something is shearing capacity, 86.592, 86.59 is the bearing capacity, and we calculated a rupture of a net area. These three things are done. Now fourth thing I am doing is design strength due to block shear. Now to calculate design strength of a block shear, you already know the formula. It is for the plate. I already discussed with you. Those formulas I have mentioned over here, and I hope you are good with these formulas. These formulas are mentioned in your IS code. I hope you have IS code with you while learning things from my lecture, or while attending or watching this video. Please carry your IS code with you, then and then only you will able to understand the concept from it. Okay, now let's understand what is block shear is. Block shear is the concept in which tension as well as shear will occur simultaneously. Tension as well as shear occurs simultaneously. How does it happen? Because see, on one plane of this bolt and plate arrangement, on one plane there will be a tension and on other planes there will be a shear. How does it happen? See here, in this diagram I have made that lap connection joint for you. Arrangement is shown over here, and figure shows us, or figure tells us, that there are 4 bolts, 2 in a row. Okay, how we arrange that bolts? There is a row of 2 bolts. There is a row, 2 rows of 2 bolts. That's how we arrange our bolts, right? And if such a arrangement we do, what will be a type of block shear failure occurs, and how does it will happen? So see, I am saying block shear failure, then it may occur like this, because when you apply tensile force, the plate which is on top will experience a pulling outside, a force, and bolts will apply a shear force upon it. Equal and opposite reaction, right? That will be a shear force. So this plane will experiencing shear force. This plane is experiencing shear force because equal and opposite reaction is taking place at it, right? But in this vertical plane 3, 4, what is happening over there? You have applied tensile force, and that is giving us exactly opposite reaction. It is equal and opposite force, and that gives us a tensile behavior. Both of the forces are going in outward direction, but they are because of those outward direction forces, the plane is experiencing, this plane is experiencing tensile force, right? This plane is experiencing tensile force, whereas on this plane and on this plane, equal and opposite forces are acting. This force is pushing outward, this force is moving in another direction like this, and this plane is experiencing shear force, right? That's how equal and opposite forces come across a section and will gives us, or will tells us about how shear or block shear failure takes place, right? And why we call it as a block shear failure? Because totally this block will come outside and fails. This will move outside, this block will move outside along with the bolts, and that's how it takes place, right? Now how to calculate AVG, AVN, ATG and ATN. This is I explained already many times. I'm gonna still gonna give it briefly how it takes place. or how do we calculate it? So AVG stands for what? V stands for shear here. So gross area in shear. What phases or what planes are experiencing shear? 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6 are experiencing shear. Correct? And if that planes are experiencing shear, you should take care of those planes to calculate gross area in shear. So I have already taken 2 because 2 planes we are talking about or we are calculating for. What is the length? Length will be this 30 plus pitch distance 80 into thickness. What is the thickness of this plate? 12 mm. Then next is your net area. Net area is simple, just to reduce the dia of a hole. 1.5 into 18. 1.5 into 18 because this complete hole and this hole will be considered halfly. Therefore 1.5. Rest of the things remain same. Then ATG. ATG stands for gross area in tension. Which phase is experiencing tension? Along 3, 4. On this plane, what will be a length? Length will be this distance. This distance was 60. I forgot to write over here. That is 60 into thickness 12. The net 60 minus 18. 60 minus 18 because half from this side and half from this side. Total 1 into 12. That's how you calculate it. Put the all values in given formula and you will come across TDB and TDB2. From this, list will tell us about the block shear strength. List is 495. This is how we have calculated 4 of the values. Which are those 4 values? First value is net rupture of plate. Then second value is bearing strength. Shearing strength. Next is bearing strength of this 2 is for bolt. And last one is for block shear failure. Now you must be wondering that why I have taken only 4 of the 4 modes of failure when I was talking about 6 in beginning, right? Earlier I was talking about that there are 6 modes of failure, and by that 6 modes of failure, the list one we will take it as a take it as a tensile capacity of that joint, right? But why I am taking only 4? Because see here, with the experience and observation, it is observed that tensile first is shearing and bearing of bolt. Bearing capacity, shearing capacity. And third one in case of bolt is tensile capacity. Okay. So look at the lap joint. Look at the lap joint. This is the lap joint and you have placed the bolt inside it. Correct? And you are applying tension like this. Correct? If I am taking a clear observation of this bolt, will this bolt is under tension? Not at all. They are not experiencing tension, but they are resisting shear force at this plane. If the bolts are not resisting tension, will it be tensile capacity is necessary to calculate? No. You can neglect that. Next is you have taken rupture and block shear. It means that gross yielding of gross area is not calculated. What is the formula for it? TDG. How to calculate TDG? Why we have not taken that? Because see, yielding of gross area, if you have seen many of the problems which I have taught you already and earlier which we solved, you must observe the flow of that question or answer solution. So solution tell us that TDG will be always on higher side than that of TDN. It means rupture and block shear. If it is gonna give a higher value, so you can skip that part and keep your solution small by knowing the only rupture value and block shear value. So that's how we calculated total 4 values here, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and list out of it will be the ultimate load carrying capacity. So what is the ultimate load carrying capacity? List out of it. So 297, 148, 346 and 495. Now you must be in a doubt that ma'am, bolt value of shear is 37. Why you have multiplied it with 4? Because see, in our lap joint connection, if you have observed, there are total 4 bolts for connection. We have used 4 bolts, correct? And if there are 4 bolts, I must multiply a bolt value of, or a shear bolt capacity of 1 bolt by 4, right? And that's why the shearing capacity and bearing capacity rises to this new values. Now look at the values 297, 148, 346 and 495. Which one is the list? Of course 148.58. That will be your ultimate load carrying capacity of that joint. Ultimate load carrying capacity of that joint. So here your first unit is about to over. One more lecture is required and we will start our tension member design. Before going ahead, I request you all, there are many wide concepts and deep concepts we have learned. The first unit is very vast. I request you all to write down all these things in your notebook and keep your notebook ready. I can ask you any of your classmates and students to show it in next Zoom lecture. Okay, so write it down, each and every theory part I teach you in this video lectures. And second important point I want to tell you is that in coming week from Monday to Saturday, somewhere on Monday or Tuesday, I will arrange a test for you, online lecture or online test for you. So be ready for test because our first unit is over. And third instruction is that I will upload all these necessary data and notes which I carry and write down for you. I will upload that on Google Classroom. Go through those notes and write it down in your notebook. Keep your notebook ready to check at any time in the next week. Okay, thank you so much.